For me personally, the most difficult thing to look in my employees' eyes and tell them, listen, this Friday I can't give you a check. They have families, they bought homes. Every week they rely on those paychecks.
You found out that somebody owes you a lot of money, they went out of business, and now you have all this stress. What do? When you say marketplace ministry, that's such a broad thing.
When we're gonna go overseas, we're gonna talk to a group of people that are interested to start small groups. People who want to be in business or want to be in the marketplace somewhere, but bring Christ into what they do. I've lost everything that I could. I lost all of my finances. I had nothing else to lose. I remember the prayer. I said, God, with my own strength, I couldn't do it. From now on, it's gonna be you. Right there at that front door, I decided I'm gonna start trusting God, and whatever happens in my life, that's gonna be God.
Welcome to Library of Lives. Thanks for coming. Today we have Alex and Bogdan and another Bogdan. It's amazing to see people that are businessmen, Christian, active,
Yes.
just interesting people. What has God been doing in your life? Let's start with you, Bogdan. In the last, let's say, year, what did God teach you? Something, or a few things. What did God teach you in the last years?
Oh man, it's a really good question. You know, being a businessman, being Christian, and having the family, it's just a blessing. That's what you realize through all your life. Yeah. So, because when you have a business and a lot of people working for you, for sure you have many times you have a lot of headaches, you have stress, but
Pressures,
knowing
yeah.
pressure, because not everything goes smooth all the time. So
No.
because there is ups and downs always, and especially you're responsible for a lot of people who work for you. So and then rely on the paychecks from your company. You want everything to be smooth. You're always thinking about to be loaded with work, and if you have over 100 people every Friday expecting check from you, if you have some struggles,
What kind of
it's
business?
bring you a lot of stress. Yes, many
What kind
times.
of business do you have?
Yeah, I have a plumbing company. I have actually business partner, and I have a HVC company and another one service company. So we have three different businesses.
I'm a builder too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a license recently. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So, but all the stresses, there's the two things which give you peace, and you always have enjoying it. That God for sure, because that's what give you peace, because you have a hope, and he gonna always lead you through and help you with every single thing. So, and especially spiritually and peace in your soul and in your mind. And other thing, even the big problems happen. What I think about always, I have family and my kids healthy, and my kids obey parents, and they in a church.
He has 8 kids.
yeah, I have 8 kids.
Yeah.
And my oldest is 25, so Marcus, and my youngest daughter, Sarah, she's 5 only. So it's actually
Amazing.
between oldest and youngest 20 years difference. Yeah. So
you'd say what God has been teaching you, particularly last year, is just that you rely on Him, because there is so much pressure on you. You rely on Him.
Yeah, and even just the main thing when you have all the stresses, and all these difficulties, because
could you give an example? Like you say stresses, like how do you deal with? Let's pick up
okay,
an example.
so I will tell you one thing which recently happened to us a little bit over a year ago. So because you always have some contracts, you doing large projects, especially in our company, we have big customers. And that's happened if one company go out of business and owe you a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then that's your cash flow, which gonna almost ruin your business, because you have to pay 2 employees every week. You have to pay your vendors every month.
Yeah.
And you still have to continue your business. You can't just stop because so many people. Yeah. And then you see even other business bring you some income, but this one you have to cover now because
Yeah.
losses like tremendous.
So what do you
And
do?
then like you just sometimes you just want to stop everything and just scream and cry like
Yeah.
how are I
Yeah.
gonna move, what are we gonna do next? Like for me personally, the most difficult thing, like to look in my employees' eyes and tell them, listen, this Friday I can't give you check, so
Yeah.
like I have to push it to next week or something else like this, because I know everybody they have families, they bought homes, they have
Yeah.
cars
Yeah,
which they
mortgages,
paying
yeah.
more credits and all that stuff, so like they rely and every week they rely on those paychecks. So it's most difficult, like because you have some kind of thing in your bank account, like you can survive for, because every businessman has something, like you can rely, but it's not only this thing, but because this other people rely,
No,
and this is what make you most like stressful. And
but
that
what
so
do you do? Like, so for example, you found out that somebody owes you a lot of money, they went out of business, and now you have all this stress. What do you do? Like, what does your day look like on that day?
listen, like I'm in the business already over 20 years, and like this ups and down happening all the time, so it's a little bit
You get
make you
used to it?
stronger over the years, so it's
It's an
not
old
first time it
story.
happened.
Doesn't matter.
So like so you don't take it like it's happened first time with you,
Yeah.
so like you already have some experience with this stuff, like but there is the thing which is like but this is like multi-million dollars problem, is real stress.
Yeah.
It's serious stress. So like you thinking like always this is the more than you can handle, and then you really cry like God help me, and most what you ask him, just God, all this thing, just give me peace, because I
Yeah.
don't want to destroy my mind, my mood, and I don't want my family feel it. I don't want my kids feel it. I don't want my kids go through it. So like I don't even want, when I come back home, my wife, with our relationship, she didn't feel the struggle. So and like she don't even, and I trying to make it go through as smooth as possible. And for sure, like even in these situations, like because we are Christians, so sometimes you just stop, like and also rethink why it's happening like this, like why you go through this period of time, why it's happening to you, to your business,
Yeah.
like and then you start pray maybe more, read the Bible more, and then you go, that's just like we have some other house, you just renting a house or go away for 4 days just to stay alone and just find the time to spend with God, rethinking everything, and then just move forward. So but God always gonna let you go through it. So like all these things, which is when it's happened to you, it always make you stronger, for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting
Make you
that you
stronger.
say the main thing is you don't beg God, give me money or give me like peace. Peace is
Just
peace. That's somebody that knows the responsibility of a lot of people has that answer, because otherwise if you come to work all stressed and 100 people, you know what a bank run is? When people think they bank run out of money, that's what's gonna happen. People will start panicking and all that. It's so interesting. You said peace is the biggest thing in this
But
this
see, he
situation.
has this solid relationship with God, right? And I think that what he's saying comes out from the relationship with God,
Yeah.
right? So that's why it makes sense.
What does your relationship with God look like? And I don't know. Would you want to describe what your relationship with God is like? Like not in a surface way, but I mean, how do you spend time with him? How do you talk with him?
you always can value something with comparison, right? So because I wasn't Christian from my birth date, so I came up from not a Christian family. So all my family repented in 1993. So my mom, my younger brothers and sister, and then so I become Christian. So I was 16, close to 17 years old those days, like and when came to Jesus, it was like, very powerful changes in my life. And like, I remember those days because it was Soviet Union just collapsed,
Yeah,
those,
93. Yeah.
yeah, those days, like, was like anarchy almost, like, police, no
Yeah.
control, like, it's everything was difficult. And like, I was a teen, I was a youth those days, like, we was a lot of like not good stuff. And it wasn't the best time for the country also. And like, and you will struggle a lot, so like, a lot of also was stress. And when you came to Jesus and that peace what he gave you, like, I remember those days when I repented, like, when I start feeling he gave me something different, and I don't have this, like, worry, or like, some fear all the time, like what's gonna happen tomorrow, like, if my friends reject me, all that stuff. When you come to Jesus, that peace he give you, and you see how much different it is to compare with the life you had before. And then you like a kid, like you rely on the parents, like, you live like in father's house.
Yeah.
He take care of you. So even those struggles, like, it wasn't the best time for the country. It wasn't so good economic. You remember those days. Everything was difficult now, even
Yeah.
to go to buy bread.
Yeah.
You had to stay on the line because those was not so easy time. But when you come to Christ, and like, he give you that peace and joy, that's like, your heart filled with the love, and that peace, and you value it a lot. So, and over this time, like, when you have some stresses, you always thinking, God, wherever you go through, wherever I go through, just give me peace. Like, even because it's a lot of different thing happening during the life. Even when I got married, we had started getting kids, and one of my sons, when he was born, he's named Samuel. He's a handicap. He's not walking. He's not talking. So he's on the bed. It was another stress, like, so over
Yeah.
the year, your lifetime, you go through this, like, ups and downs, as I said, like, many times. So, and and I also remember I thought I lost the peace, like, I was thinking right away, why it's happening to me, why it's happening to my family. Jesus, I love you. I like, I know it's nothing more important in my life than you, and serving you, and to having you in my life. And that's happened to me. So why it's happened? And it was like, it was a difficult time for me, very difficult time for me. Like, I thought I'm not gonna go through, but again, like, one time I was driving to work, to office, and I just stopped by in a park. I remember this time like today. I was driving, I was taking Route 9, and there is like plaza by the Lowe's, Lowe's Plaza, and the parking spot. I just parked over there, and I just stopped, and I said, God, I can't do anymore. I turned on the music, I was listening worship music. And then, like, God, I know this is for some reason. Maybe you just did it. You just let it go, let it happen to my life to make me stronger. And I just, like, that peace came back to me. I start enjoying again the life. I start like singing, start worshiping, like, some tears came up to me.
Yeah.
And like, again, like breakthrough. So, and again, like, because I was used to write some songs before. So like, when the Samuel was born, I just stopped. I didn't have any music in my mouth
your
again.
soul.
So like, I couldn't sing, I couldn't write anything. Just everything stopped, like everything frozen. So, but then, like, that peace breakthrough, I start singing again, I start worshiping God again. So, and like,
Powerful.
it's that's like, that peace which coming from above, you value it the most. Because then, even I have successful business, like, I have enough for my family. Yeah, and so many people working for me, like, I can afford to drive a nice car. I live in a nice house, but I always just compare to that peace what God gave me. Nothing can compare.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing can compare to it. Because sometimes, like, you everything you have, you can buy, you can afford, you get bored from that over time.
Yeah.
When I bought G-Wagon, I thought like, okay, this is the nicest car. That was my dream. Okay, I will drive. But what couple months, that's it, you get used to it.
Yeah.
Like, but the peace
Yeah, that stays.
from God, what he gives you, even through all these difficulties, as the most important. So that's what, like, you value it so much, you just can't say, like, anything in the world better than that.
Yeah.
And everything what you can do, just taste it. God always close to you, right? Just saying, like, just believe me.
It's so I mean, the fact that you were not Christian from childhood, you're a Christian from childhood, Alex. I'm me too. But the fact that you aren't, and 25 years later, that's more, 30 years later, you still talk about the peace that God gave you back then. That's really,
Yeah,
that is
that's
something.
that's the most valuable thing.
Man, to me, when I see a person that comes from the world, or that doesn't know God, and then changes, like I was on missionary trips multiple times, mission trips, and it was so hard for me to believe that a person can give their life to Jesus just because I'll tell them, because I know how my life is. It's not perfect. Like you had your son, or you have these problems or these issues or this
Yeah.
and that. Life doesn't change. I mean, even that experience in the car, nothing changed, but just peace came. So it's no, now as an adult, I see that people from the world, there is something that God can offer. But before that, I was like, the world is more interesting. This, you know what I mean? So no, anyways, that's maybe a shallow thinking from the past, but you just made me remember it. Alex, so what has God been teaching you in the
Oh
last
boy.
year, last half a year?
So this year has been a very interesting year.
Mm-hmm.
Few years ago, I said yes to God when I felt like He called me into the marketplace ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember about 2 years ago now, we're sitting with the team in my house for like an annual planning. And they're like, hey, Alex, we feel like this ministry is going to go, worldwide. And I was in the front of the room, I was taking notes, and I'm writing it on the wall, right? And I'm like, I'm doubting. I'm like, I mean, we have these two groups here, like three groups. We have three groups, and I'm like, this is anyway. So fast forward, this year has been very interesting, where God just started opening up doors to different things.
Mm-hmm.
So we are actually going overseas in about a week and a half to do.
When you say marketplace ministry, that's such a broad thing. Can you be a little more specific?
It's the term is used on purpose.
Everybody uses it, yeah.
What we are focusing on now specifically, when we're gonna go overseas, we're gonna talk to a group of people that are interested to start small groups in their local areas for the young generation of people who want to be in business or want to be in the marketplace somewhere, work for a company, but bring Christ into what they do. So, and it's focused on someone locally running the group and supporting those people, praying together, doing accountability and all of that. So that's how this year kind of started. And when Bogdan started talking about business, I I was so busy that I didn't really work much, in a sense. I mean, I also ran a business, and I was just busy with all of this work, prepping, doing a lot of things. God just started opening up doors. And I'm a minister at heart. I've been in ministry, I don't know, since I was like 18-ish years old. So it's been a minute. And so it's very important for me. So here's what God was teaching me, Badan. So I am devoting so much time to ministry that I really didn't do much working. I mean, yes, over the years I've tried to build the company so it more or less works without me. right? So I can work on the business. And but you know how it is. It's like you're doing something, then doubts creep in. You look at the financials, right? And you're like, man, what's going to happen? But I remember the season in the beginning of the year, I've devoted a lot of time, like big block of time, weeks and weeks to ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Barely did any work. And I'm like looking at the finances and I'm like, God, I really need the breakthrough. And here's what happened. Ab- About a For about a month and a half or so, after I've devoted, right, this block of time to ministry, come back to business, and business just for about a month and a half just blows up. Basically, whatever I thought I lost by not being in the business, trying to move it forward, right? It was just, I call different sales reps. I'm like, hey, what do you see in the industry? They're like, everyone is slow. And I'm like,
Not us.
I know what's happening. I talked to my
Yeah.
general manager and I'm like, hey, can you explain what's happening? He's like, no, I can't. There's no explanation. We're just going to ride the wave. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's a mental note, right? Because God was testing me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be faithful to do what He called me to do and devote my time to what He called me to do? And will I trust Him enough, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a interesting test, right, that
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went through. So it was really powerful. Beginning of the year, very powerful. So I don't know. This year is almost like, God is testing how much I can trust Him,
Mm-hmm.
which I've had this years and years ago when God had to break me, right? Back in the day, I was thinking, man, I don't know how God is going to provide for me, right? We were just talking about the mentality. You were thinking, man, how am I going to go to the missionary trip and people going to
Yeah. Accept
become
Jesus,
Christian? So I grew up in a Christian family and I'm like, you know what? I'm living paycheck to paycheck. How does it look like that God will provide, right? How does it look like? I'm a Christian. I'm doing something for God. Anyway, I just had this
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
maybe shallow mentality, right? And God needed to break me. So I don't know. I think this is almost like this year has almost been like a next level. God just really testing my heart. How far am I going to go trusting Him? So it's been an interesting year, challenging for sure.
You said this phrase, I am curious how it will look that God will provide. Can you? Because a lot of people have no practically what it is.
I'm going to give you a little
Mm-hmm.
story of what happened in my life,
Mm-hmm.
just so people see this is what happened years ago. So I used to say to myself, like, I'm in ministry, I'm working full time, and basically full time in ministry. I was a youth leader at that time in church, was doing quite a bit. We didn't have any kids back then, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just full time ministry type of deal. And I remember I used to think, man, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Obviously, you know, I pray for God to bless me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pray for others. I see breakthrough maybe in others' families and stuff like that. But I was just like, I didn't know how is it gonna look like? What does it look like that God will provide? I used to think to myself, money growing trees? Like what how what's gonna happen?
Yeah. People show
So
up in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I started praying, God, I'm gonna go into business. You're gonna need to bless my business because I'm gonna give.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give. You need to bless me because I'm gonna give. And I remember years later, my first business failed. Years and years later, I heard this preacher say that you never heard God, Jesus, come to someone in a problem, look at the person and say, you know what? You just need more money. That never happened, right?
That's right. Yeah.
God needs your heart. God wants to have personal relationship with you. So anyway, so I was praying, God, you need to bless this business because I'm gonna give.
Yeah.
Right? And God is looking and He's like, dude, you can't trust me. You need to learn how to trust me. So I remember when, business didn't go well, 2008, thanks
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
2008
Mm-hmm.
as well, but business didn't go well. I got into debt, collections, credit cards, maxed out, missed payments on basically everything, right? And I'm still minister in church, serving in the youth ministry. And yeah, I remember I was sitting in a parking lot of a gas station, and I was like, God, why is this happening to me? Just under so much stress, right? And I remember so much pressure came on me. Had to get out of the business, went and started working for someone else. And I remember this, I don't know, just this winter inside of me, right? It was very, very heavy, right? You were talking about peace of God, and I'm like, yeah, at that point, I had this deep pressure on me, right? And like this cold, cold winter inside of me. And I remember all of this is happening, and I'm praying, right? I'm praying about the financial state, about my family, about me as well, right? And I remember it was a beautiful summer evening. I came home from work, and I walked up to my house, and this was my front door moment. So I'm standing in the front of my front door of my house, and I'm like praying inside. I'm like, God, I'm going to surrender to you. Because before I thought I didn't know how to trust you, and I thought that I needed to go and start doing something. I didn't hear from God to go and open the business. I didn't hear from God to go and do whatever I've done, right? This was me. I was like, I have this, I'm going to start the business, I'm going to invest the money, and I'm going to pray that God's going to bless me. So I remember I'm like, you know what, God, I've tried it my way, and it didn't work. And I said to myself right there at the front door moment, I said, you know what? I've lost everything that I could. I lost all of my finances that I had at that time. And I'm like, I had nothing else to lose. So I said to God, I remembered the prayer. I said, God, I've lost everything. With my own strength, I couldn't do it. From now on, whatever's going to happen from now on, it's going to be you. Right there at that front door, I decided from now on, I'm going to start trusting God, and whatever happens in my life, that's going to be God. And dude, I remember after that prayer, I remember like this winter inside of me just disappeared. All of a sudden, I turn around and I see, wow, beautiful green grass, right? Summer, beautiful sun shining, right? I didn't see it just because of all of this heaviness. And at that point, God removed it, and I just slowly started getting out. God started working on my heart, right? That's the time when I learned how to start giving, when I had nothing. I remember, like, no one really knows about this, but I remember those nights where I would sit in my kitchen till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and watch sermons on finances, right? Watch sermons on principles of finances in the Bible, right? Giving or bringing tithing to church, giving over and above, right? How about giving from your first fruits, right? All of this I was learning when I had nothing. And this was interesting time of learning. I remember we started giving. My wife and I, we decided to start giving when we were living on pilmeni. That like we didn't have much.
It's like ramen,
Yeah,
American equivalent.
yeah. So, and that's what happened. And I remember. Let me finish the story. Just full circle, what it looked like for me at that point to start trusting God. I remember I met the person because we had this hurricane come through our area, and I took some of the young people from our youth ministry. I was still a youth leader in our church, and we started helping people out and made this connection while we were helping someone to rebuild their house. And then about a year and a half later, when my wife and I, we started we weren't praying about the business. We were praying about, a new job for me. And God reconnected me with that person. That person kind of opened up a few doors for me. And the current business that I'm in, it started with that connection. God opened up the doors. I never invested any money into our business, right? So when I opened the business, swiped the credit card, paid for the software, made profits that first month, paid the credit card off, and I've never invested a penny into this business because God opened the door. You see, this time was completely different. But God taught me how to trust Him in this whole process. And He opened up the door that I never knew even existed. Oh, and by the way, remember the thing that I was saying to myself, money growing trees, like how God is going to provide. Here's the funny thing. So our business is kitchen cabinets. Kitchen cabinets are made out of wood. Just saying, God has a sense of humor. Full circle. This was years ago, and 11 years later now, I am in awe. I never thought that door was even existed in my life, right? But God changed me. He broke me. 2008 was a year where God is like, okay, you're gonna run out of juice. All right, you're gonna be done, and then I'm gonna get you to the place where I'm gonna break you, right? Because we do this exercise with the entrepreneurs now when we do retreats. It's called Business Lifeline. And the interesting thing, everyone has high points in business, low points in business, high points, low points. And then when we analyze the low points, we're like, man, these low points, we learned so much lessons in the low points, and they get us to the next, right? To the next curve. And then something else happens, like for example, in my life, I lost a brother. He committed suicide. That was a challenging thing to go through. Right? And it affects your family, it affects you personally. It's not easy, right? So you have these different ups and downs, and no one is exempt from them. But I think what Bogdan was saying, just this peace, once you have a relationship with God, right? And you know how it feels when you know how to trust God. Now, no one is perfect, right? 2 years ago, I remember I was in such a challenging situation business-wise. I called my friend and we spent like almost half a day together. We went out for breakfast and then we sat in the car, and he was just talking me off the edge a bit. And so no one is exempt from that, right? But these situations, I related to you so much because I remember the conversation with my friend, right? And then when the similar situation comes around, you're like, okay, I know what I've done back then, how I prayed, how I've trusted God, and I've seen God take me through the situation. So now you're like, okay, I need to learn how to trust God. I need to make sure that I have a good relationship with God, right? Good friends around me. And so that's my circle, how God kind of broke me, right? And I've learned how to trust that God can provide.
You know what's interesting? You said God broke me and then sort of rebuilt.
Yeah.
People sometimes ask why. What's the point? What I understood is it's because we need to understand that we are in kingdom business, in kingdom life. So, for example, if you in 2008 you fail, right? And most people, what do? If they are in the world, they read more books, they get themselves hyped up, and they start something else, something new. And we can do that over and over and over, and we can be successful, and we can write books on how to be successful. But in the end, it'll be worldly success without peace, we know how kids end up, their kids, or the silver spoon syndrome and all this. But what I see is, why does God want us to surrender? Because the sooner we start live by kingdom principles, and we live in kingdom. I mean, we gave our life to Jesus. So when we start living by kingdom's principles, we have to surrender, we have to give up, we have to give it to God, and then He will give us His ideas, His ways,
Yeah.
and so on. And this way, when I'm 18 or when I'm 25, I start living and building a business by God's principles. And by the time I'm 40 or 60, I have something that I could give and teach and so on. But if I keep fighting and trying and working until I'm 40 or 60, all I have is just another business that's been successful by the worldly rules, and God can't even use me to really help young people because I'm just going to teach them the world. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So isn't that the reason why we sometimes we have to give up, we have to surrender? Like people could ask, why do we surrender?
You know what? Here's how I'm gonna answer this. I remember certain situations that happened in my life, and at that moment they made no sense, and it almost seemed like a failure. But sometime down the line, an idea comes out of that failure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Like, you can't come up with this. Like, this is something that I never expected, right? And that season or whatever thing that I've done, it's like, it seemed like it was a failure in my eyes. But then sometime down the road, God opened up a door and you're like, hang on a second, I've learned this here, or I had this connection, seemed like through this failure. And now here's a picture and it looks beautiful and something is coming out of it. So I've had these type of things, right, happen to me over the years. And I just learned, hey, I'm just going to ride the wave, trust God, and yeah.
And you become more bold, so you don't have
That's
so much
true.
fear anymore. So like because you went through it, so now like you're ready to take even more risks in life, and you don't have that fear anymore because you become like steel going through the fire, right, and then pour into the water. So it's become much stronger.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
David, when he got attacked, the whole camp was taken away. Remember the wives and everything. It's very interesting, but it says he found hope in God. He went through the past and how God helped him and all those things. He collected it and okay, God is there. God is going to help me. He was about to get stoned.
Yeah.
So yeah, that past experience. Yeah. One thing I just wanted to say, Alex mentioned that you have these like the classes or you said what we do with people, or you do retreats. That's what you mean, right? Like, or is it multiple? I mean, you do retreats.
So with the marketplace ministry, we do monthly groups inside of the local churches. So we have this whole program that we took all of the lessons that we have learned, other groups have learned from different areas, different states, put them together, and now we have this program that we encourage other entrepreneurs in whatever church you're in. If you have a passion to maybe give back, right, or be around other entrepreneurs or people in the marketplace, and you have the passion to bring faith into those circles, you can take this structure of the group, run the group inside of your local church, right? And basically the idea is to raise the next generation of entrepreneurs. So we do monthly groups. We also do retreats for business owners as well, which we have personal exercises, we have business exercises, and we focus on spiritual as well. And then we do some fun things as well. So
like shooting. And
yeah.
I've been to one. I don't know if you did. You ever go?
Yes.
I went in Orlando.
He's been to many.
It was pretty cool.
And then we also do business conferences, annual business conferences.
Is that Alex
Blinov is part of the team. He has a very, very good, strong team in Denver, Colorado.
I lived there, and I recently met Alex.
Oh yeah, he was telling me.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
we are a few years apart, so he was older, so we weren't really friends. But I've seen him, like, you know, the
Okay.
younger kid sees the older one,
Yeah,
and
he mentioned that you
we
met him.
recently reconnected. I just like that guy. I didn't know him before, but just his
By the
heart
way,
right now.
you're invited to the conference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
officially.
officially. We were supposed to contact you about a topic, so just yeah,
All
keep
right.
keep your phone handy.
Well, yeah, I would love to be a part of it,
Good.
but to serve, not to.
I
I've
understand.
overeaten.
I understand.
A lot of, yeah. Well, thank you. Something that I saw this YouTube short, and this businessman, he was saying, you know how we model Joseph as a business example, right? And he was doing it, and everything's good and so on. And God tells him, "That's not the Joseph I want you to model. There is another Joseph in the Bible that's like 2.0." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And it's Joseph of Arimathea. And how? What's the bottom line was this? He's like, when Jesus's body was at its weakest, when he died, Joseph of Arimathea took care of him. He preserved him. He balsam, you know, the oils and all of that, and he put him in a tomb that was, you know, nobody used it before and so on. But the message was that when the body of Christ is most vulnerable, the Josephs will take care of it. And it's kind of interesting that, you know, three businessmen got together here. And you know, I have a similar story in a sense, like for example, you said how God just gave a business out of nowhere. So I met a guy 2.5 years ago, September 23. And God just, I stopped trading. I gave away the hope to get some money out of it. And a week later, I met a guy that's been building for 40 years. He wrote multiple books. He's a speaker. He's all that. And in one package, God provides a mentor, a business partner, somebody that's been building for 40 years. I mean, imagine a dream for a man of that experience just to take you as a partner, you know? So God basically provided a business just out of nowhere. And it's interesting that, and basically taking care of the body of the last, whenever it's vulnerable, it seems to me like the body of Christ is like, the world is advancing. I mean, right now you go to a movie theater, half the movies around the year are horror, and when you go October, it's even most of them. You know, you go to Barnes and Noble. I like to read. My daughter likes to read. You know, my wife reads, and so on, and it's close to us. But you go to Barnes and Noble, you go to a library, and so many books are just either demonic or garbage or something like that. You know. And it seems like the world is advancing in its agenda. So the body of Christ can become weak in a lot of sense. So businessmen are the ones that I believe, it seems like businessmen are rising everywhere. And I don't mean,
Yeah.
but it's just the change in the heart. Like, for example, like Bogdan, you shared, right? That was very deep, profound, simple example. I'm just after God's peace in business, and it's been from the very beginning, you know. And I'm tearing up because it's just God teaches us very deeply, and it's not, oh, let's do this. It's more like this quiet Jesus-like move. He just goes from village to village and leaves a trail, you know. And in our case, employees, clients, you will leave a trail, you know. So, anyways, it's just.
But
you have any thoughts on that?
Bogdan can share about, how faith plays a role in their business. I'll tell you this. We meet quite a bit of entrepreneurs in different areas of the United States. And it's so powerful to see that already many churches start focusing on marketplace. Many churches start focusing on entrepreneurs because they understand that the church sees a person, maybe a few times a week for some hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But inside of the company, entrepreneurs could employ 20 people or 150 people, right? And they work there full time, right? So I see this, many churches start putting their attention on the marketplace where they can really, if they can strengthen the leader of the organization, and that leader is strong in their faith, right? They bring their faith into their business.
Yeah.
They start changing the atmosphere in their business.
He's a pastor, 150.
Yeah,
in a sense.
correct. And goosebumps right here, goosebumps moment. I see so many Gen Z, young generation looking for purpose. And right now, I see how they're longing. And for them, it's not a problem to talk about their passion and their faith. If they're close with God, they will talk about their faith at work. It's not a problem for them, right? Or on their social media circles of influence. So this is so powerful. I see it in a young generation that we're around. I see it with different entrepreneurs in different churches, and I believe that God has called us for this specific time as well to bring this tool or structure to our churches and say, hey, just take this. We're here to support you. We're not asking for anything, right? Other than here's the structure. If you have someone who's on fire in your church, grab it, learn from us, pull on us, right? And we'll help you start this ministry so you can impact the next generation of entrepreneurs. I see it in many churches. Even going overseas, we're gonna speak to about 1,000 young people that are thinking about opening up a business, or they're just in the marketplace, right? And they're hungry. They're asking, they're learning. A lot of other ministries that do crusades in many countries are saying the same thing. Hey, we have these crusades. We have all of this, we preach the word of God to people, but we have nothing to offer to entrepreneurs, to business community, right? Come. It's very much needed, right? So, we're not coming to them with crazy education, or we're not the best speakers, okay? But we're ministers. When we did the retreat, there's like 15 ministers in a room who happen to be business owners, right? But I believe God is raising up people like that are in ministry, and their hearts, they're committed to God. They know who they are, and God is raising up these similar people, right? I just met with one entrepreneur just like that from North Carolina, right? It's interesting for us. We just see this very, very just similar people, right? Like us, ministers, entrepreneurs. God is raising them, right? And I believe this is the wave that I believe the revival is going to start happening in the circles of entrepreneurs, and it's very powerful. So, yeah, we're just saying yes to what God is telling us in this season, and we'll see what He's going to do.
Just so you guys know, so Alex has, a full program basically for groups, for training, for, retreats is one of them. I was a part of that retreat. It was 3 days or 4 days?
3 days, 3 nights, 4 days.
And it was, we prayed. We had that chair where a person sits in the chair. And we just, everybody prayed, and God was speaking some powerful things.
Sir.
So it was that, but it was also workshops, and we've broken up in groups and like practice things and got answers. I was just starting a business, and I got some answers for me, and all that. So it was just so good. And that was a retreat, but there is monthly groups. There is also, so I don't know if you guys want to reach out, comment, and we'll connect you. Okay, let's unless you have something to add on this subject.
Yeah, I want to add. So, like, for example, our principle of life, we have some kind of constitution, right, as a Christian, because we have a Bible.
Values,
Yeah, and we have some values, moral values, and that's what we're trying to bring among our customers and among our employees. Because like from my experience, like, a lot of my customers, they saying like, you guys different, like, very easy to work with you. So you have honesty. So like you have some commitment. So like if you have a contracts, you try to keep the contracts. Same thing with employees. Like, if Alex knows, like we just decided like years back, like we're gonna dedicate 1 hour every week. We do it on Monday morning, like 7 a.m. So to just hang out with our employees, whoever local, who is driving far away, for sure. Like, it's difficult for them, but whoever available, they come at 7 o'clock every Monday. And we just like, I love one thing. I always like to come to each of my employees, shake their hands, and just like to have that eye contact. And we bringing like bagels, coffee. So like, if that hot season, summer, so we just load them with bottles of water, stuff like that. And usually at the end of this hour, because it's usually from 7 to 8, and the end of that hour, we just making prayer. Doesn't matter you're Christian, not Christian. You just like, we hang out. We just want to pray, guys. We want to pray for you, for your families, for our business. Make sure we have success. Make sure we like, everybody loaded with the jobs, and like we have a blessing. So, and it's really working. So, and you see the employees stick to your company, and they want to stay. They like it. They like the atmosphere. So, and we always take it as a perspective. Look, let's put an example: America, right? Western civilization. Why so many people want to come to America? Why we have so many immigrants? They're just crossing the border, and like everybody want to live here. Because what? Because of Constitution. Because the principles how this country was built. Everybody want to live here. First Amendment, Second Amendment. And this is like democracy and all that stuff. Like, it's all good stuff, because this country is a little bit different than other, like, third world country or countries which doesn't have a success because of the Constitution. So, and this is what bringing the value to the country and success, and people want to live in such a country. So same thing is example, like, we as a Christian businessman, entrepreneurs, we have to bring this constitution to our table. So we have to implement it in our businesses, like, moral values, honesties. Like, we value every single employee, every single person who is in our contact with us, who's working for us, who we're working for, our customers and our employees. Like, and this, like, I understand that like business have to grow this culture to be a good company which has a Bible as a constitution. And this way, like, it's going to bring, like, more people to be connected to this company as employee, as a customer, because this company is a good company. It has a good values because based of the proper constitution.
Listen, I remember you guys inspired me so much. This was before COVID, when you guys had service on Friday nights for your employees.
For employees, yeah.
This blew my mind. So in your business, you guys have a chapel. So you have a what do you call it? A big room.
Yeah, big. We call it chapel or a big meeting room. We say.
Okay, just so you know, they have a stage, live instruments like drums and everything, right? All of the sound equipment, lighting, everything. So
He's a pastor. 150.
yeah, I'm telling you. So before COVID, you guys had this service where you would minister to your people and like on a weekly basis. For me, that was just so inspirational. I was looking at you guys and I'm like, man, if they can do it in their business, of course I can. I'm not going to be shy about my faith. Can I pray with my people? Of course I can. Can I talk about faith in my business? Of course I can. You guys inspired me. And I'm telling you, you not just inspired me. Many people across the United States also got inspired by what you guys were doing. So powerful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Praise God.
Yes.